Well, South African businesses are by and large not meeting their broad-based black economic empowerment targets. It's according to the latest Sanlam Gauge report. It studies over 10,000 companies, and I'm afraid that what they've found is not nearly enough of the companies are achieving their contribution targets. I don't want to give away the numbers. Let's bring in Black Business Council CEO Khanki Mbatsabane joining us. Khanki, good morning. Good to have you with us. And what I'm seeing here is, with the exception, we've had this before, with the exception of the socio-economic development pillar, most sectors are struggling to hit their targets. It's simply not good enough, is it?
Morning, Gareth Tumelo and the viewers, and thank you very much for having us. Yeah, you're right. I think most of the companies are basically taking transformation as a charity, because the social investment part is the easiest to achieve, because it does not necessarily involve any actual transformation. You just identify a few needy organizations, and then you just donate the money. So hence almost 100% of the companies achieved 100% of that. But where things matter, like ownership, and not much is happening there. And the reason for that, I think, is that most of the companies have taken a posture of what we call ticking the boxes. So they are looking at where they can get the maximum points, BEE points, without doing much. So they'll go and tick a box and say, we've given this school shoes to this organization, and because they know that does not necessarily affect how the companies run. Ownership is extremely important, because when you own a company, you are able to then determine the rest of the other point. So the rest of the other things, like management control, you'll be able to appoint your own people. You'll be able to procure from the people that you want to procure from. So you'll be able to employ your people, and then you train them. You are able to implement equity.
I mean, you pave the road forward, don't you, for the company, especially if it's black owned. You pave the way forward, because I wanted to pick up on what you spoke about, Khanki, about management control in this as well, because as the owner, you have a say over management control, and that's the number that I think worries the majority of people. Let me just remind viewers what the report said. The Triple BEE Advisory Council reporting only 55% of its management control targets were hit in this year. That's just over half. It's staggering that we still have so few managers in positions of Triple BEE.
Yeah, and remember, the BEE ownership that we're talking about is not it's not even 50%. It's 25.1%. So people are not meeting 25.1%, and because of the demographics of South Africa, we're supposed to be ultimately reaching around 80% black ownership, but now we cannot even meet 25.1%. So if you try to do your math and do multiplications, chances are the economy will only reflect the demographics maybe in more than 200 years. So it means something needs to be done, because when you try to leave the market to self-correct, while the market was basically created through legislation, it means maybe what we need to do is to go back to the legislation and say, let's legislate, let's put what is called the stick, because the carrot is there. The carrot is the BEE points, but it looks like there's not enough stick to force companies to do what they're supposed to do.
So it's the carrot or the stick you're suggesting, Khanki. It's the carrot or the stick. And I'm curious to get your thoughts before I say goodbye to you. You're saying legal frameworks need to be looked at. We tie in legal frameworks, of course, with policy and policy discussions. And you knew, I'm sure, I was going to ask for your thoughts on what should the ANC do with ANC Policy Conference on this. Where does the ANC need to change what it's doing for broad-based black economic empowerment? Final brief answer from you, please.
Yeah, I think the ANC needs to hold government to account, because ANC does not implement these policies. It's the people that they've appointed to positions as ministers and other positions. They must hold them to account to implement. And also, I think they were struggling as a country to with implementation. We do a lot of talking, but less implementation. So let's start implementing, and this will start to happen.
It's always about implementation, isn't it? You can't have a conversation about policy without bringing implementation to it. As always, I appreciate your time and giving us your thoughts on what is very, very discouraging triple BEE scorecard targets that have come out at the moment. A report coming out a little while ago. Just to remind you of the report in case you want to go take a look at it. It is the Sanlam Gauge report. But that was Khanki Matabane, Black Business Council CEO, joining us here on ENCA.